everyone, and welcome back to another Professor Series episode. My name is Nekkra, and today we're going to be going over the ins and outs of leads and team preview when it comes to VGC. We'll be going over real-time examples and the thought process that you should be going through when looking at the examples. The first thing you want to do when you see the team compositions in front of you is analyze what's presented in front of you. What offensive threats are on the team? These are typically Pokemon that are fast and can hit you hard, playing more aggressively. What kinds of late game win conditions are on the team? Do they have slower, more defensive Pokemon that can successfully defeat your team when left on the field for late game or are able to set up? Make sure to pay attention to the speed tiers reflected in your own and your opponent's team. What kind of speed control, think Tailwind and Trick Room, are present on the team? What tools will they use to try and deal with your team? The next thing you'll want to consider are potential items. Typically, you can deduce the item that a Pokemon is holding by considering common meta trends as well as context clues. One item that's fairly easy to predict is Weakness Policy, being a consistent choice for many Pokemon in the meta. You'll usually see Weakness Policy on Pokemon like Colossal and Metagross, with both being able to capitalize off of the boosts in unique ways. One way to identify items like Life Orb and damage-boosting items is by eliminating other items as possibilities by what the rest of their composition wants to utilize. Think about what kind of damage mitigation items like berries might be available on the team. Some examples involve Incineroar with Tapu Fini, mostly utilizing Citrus Berry, or Sun teams without a strong Trick Room mode, normally using a bulkier supportive Torkoal set that utilizes Citrus Berry. Focus Sash is another straightforward item, being typically utilized by frailer Pokemon such as Regieleki, Urshifu, and Whimsicott. To give an example of the process of identifying options, here's an example. The team we're looking at on screen has nothing to deal with the Colossal matchup, with no powerful ground, water types, or damage reduction. However, Whimsicott is present on the opposing team. This means that the opponent's Colossal check likely is a Whimsicott holding Eject button. There are multiple ways to deal with this, however. Instead of side Aqua-jetting your own Colossal with Urshifu, you can instead protect your Colossal so it cannot get affected by Switcheroo, and Aqua-jet the opposing Whimsicott, forcing it to swap out and wasting its Eject button. For our next example, we are facing a hard Trick Room team with a Mimikyu as its primary mode of setting up Trick Room. However, there's no redirection on the team, so you could consider that Mimikyu, in order to get the Trick Room set up, will likely be holding a Mental Herb so it can't be taunted. This means that from our end, there will need to be an adjustment to deal with their team that doesn't rely on taunt. Understanding how to game plan around these possibilities and using context clues to do so is really important. Through this knowledge, you'll be able to effectively bring the best Pokemon and should be able to deal with the opposing Pokemon and their items, as well as understand your opponent's game plan. Let's take a look at the example where our team is Garchomp, Incineroar, Togekiss, Tapu Fini, Kartana, and Porygon 2, and where the opponent has Thundurus, Incineroar, Colossal, Blacephalon, Rillaboom, and Urshifu. Thundurus is a massive threat to the team, along with Colossal, so it's important to think about how you're going to deal with both of those Pokemon. For this reason, we need to bring Garchomp as it can deal with the Colossal and Thundurus consistently, with Colossal only being able to hit with a neutral max overgrowth and being 4 times weak to ground, and Thundurus being susceptible to powerful max rockfalls. Garchomp is a non-negotiable option as a bring in your matchup versus the opposing team. From our opponent's perspective, Rillaboom is also a great Pokemon to bring, because it can be a great late-game sweeper versus our team, especially since both Thundurus and Colossal are typically able to take knockouts quickly, forcing us to act aggressively. This makes Rillaboom a viable endgame option for them, being able to threaten loads of damage on non-Dynamaxed Pokemon. This means we need to make sure to respect Rillaboom from our end, meaning Incineroar is definitely the best option. However, we must be sure to take it in the back to avoid giving early Defiant boosts to Thundurus. Looking at the team further, Blacephalon doesn't seem like a likely lead option because of our Garchomp and Tapu Fini. Incineroar is great for passive Intimidates on Garchomp to reduce its damage, so you need to be mindful of how you want to ensure that you aren't too susceptible to Intimidate. With all of this in mind, the opponent's team has no form of speed control besides Max Airstream, meaning the opponent is likely to bring Thundurus and Urshifu. This lead also deals with a Porygon 2 lead, which can set Trick Room for us and instantly set them into a bad position. However, Porygon 2 is still a great bring, forcing the target onto Porygon 2 due to its Trick Room pressure. We can lead Garchomp and Porygon 2, pressure Trick Room, and also have max Rockfall pressure from the Thundurus turn 1 with Togekiss and Incineroar in the back. With Togekiss in the back, we have a good swap for the likely incoming double fighting type moves onto Porygon 2, which will enable us to take both hits comfortably while getting free damage onto the Thundurus with Max Rockfall and breaking Urshifu's Sash with the Sand Chip. From there, we can redirect away any moves from Garchomp with Follow Me, so Garchomp can sweep and fully utilize its Dynamax. That's how to handle Team Preview. Remember to analyze what's in front of you, identify potential items, and formulate your game plan. Good luck, trainers!